I've been asked to write an article for the Freedom Times to expose my work and proposals to a wider audience and give people hope outside of the false left-right political paradigm to which so many believe we are beholden. Because we're not beholden to anything which is forced on us against our will. We are not obligated to remain in a system which robs us of our vitality. We are all free and sentient human beings who were given free will by our Creator, and we are meant to live lives of meaning and purpose. We are not meant to be human resources, for which our creative energy and output is harvested via taxation, inflation, and a system of manufactured scarcity designed to keep the majority of people at a sustenance level of living instead of thriving in abundance as we should be. The system in which we live has been created by entities who are abject enemies of humanity. These people have no interest in our well-being other than to ensure we are just happy, entertained, and satiated enough to never question our state of enslavement, which supplies these people with lives of obscene wealth and extravagance. The wealth gap is perhaps at an all-time high in human history, and the vast majority are held down by an illegitimate economic system based on debt, which was implemented to eventually take away all wealth from we, the people. Like a game of Monopoly writ large, being played out on the world stage, we are mere pieces on a game board, being moved around by forces unbeknownst to most. Whatever it is not freedom. It is only an illusion of freedom, and the social engineers are very good at what they do, and have done, but the veil must be torn down if we ever hope to fully experience what freedom truly means in our lifetime. Many around America are finally coming to the conclusion I came to well over a decade ago, after seeing what they, the hierarchy enslaving you, did to Ron Paul in the 2008 presidential race, and having taken part in the End the Fed rallies after the economic collapse of 2008, to see absolutely no viable remedies implemented whatsoever, I realized that there would be no redress of grievances within this broken political system. They don't listen to us. They don't care what we have to say. They have essentially hijacked the entire legal system, so lawsuits do virtually nothing to reel in their egregious power grabs. From our perspective, the system is broken, but from theirs, it is running smoothly, and they are on track to implement their ultimate goal, the 24/7 panopticon prison with all currency controlled digitally, and your value to society determined by a social credit score, which essentially relates to how compliant and subservient you will act towards your overlords. If you speak out against the system, you can and will be shut out of the economy and allowed to do and eat only certain things or else. This is the dystopian future they have planned, but they will sell it in a shiny package of propaganda designed to lure the mindless masses into their cages, as they have proven to do over and over again with precision. If we want to avert this nightmare envisioned by the likes of Aldous Huxley and George Orwell, there is only one way in which we can do so peacefully and without violence, and that is the essence of my work and proposals. After I realized the futility of voting and protesting, and knowing that the political machine is nothing more than an enemy of humanity and a tool, much like a hammer used by the predator class to both extract our wealth and pound us down if we get too uppity, I sat down and began to write a book on June 10th of 2010. Within a year, it would become a trilogy called The Great Awakening, with each volume covering the mind, body, and soul, respectively. The subtitle of the first book was to be Understanding the Vital Keys to Freeing Humanity from Debt Slavery, Illegitimate Authority, and Universal Deceit. And there are vital keys we all need to learn, understand, and implement if we ever hope to be free. However, the books were never finished. I worked on them for 9 years before finally realizing it was a task too big for me to accomplish, and I set out to start a business in 2019. But then the assault on humanity known as COVID was unleashed in March of 2020. It was then that I immediately reactivated and I went back to the work I had been doing for all those years because I knew that the answers to stopping the madness lied within my extensive research and work. I started writing blogs and posting them on Facebook. Suddenly, I was inundated with friend requests, hundreds every day. On March 11, 2020, I had 37 friends and followers. Within months, I had maxed out my friends list and the followers have continued to grow ever since. Finally, my voice was being heard and my message resonating with people because it's pure veritas. And people intuitively resonate with truth when they see someone else put it into words that they can easily understand. But instead of finishing and publishing my books because I felt it wouldn't reach a wide enough audience to have any great effect, I put all of my most important findings and knowledge into a website and series of videos that are available across 6 platforms. So, what is this truth that people are resonating with so much? It's the realization that we aren't free and never will be free as long as the legacy institutions and systems of enslavement are allowed to remain in place. It's as simple as that. In part 2 of my Manifesting a New Reality video series, I show where one of the globalist minions published a book in 2009 boldly stating that essentially 8,000 people control the entire world. So, given that statistic, we outnumber them by roughly 980,000 to 1. My question is, what are we waiting for? What I saw as the massive disconnect in everyone pointing out the obvious, obsessing on the problems, and repeating ad nauseum what has been said for generations was none of them were offering any solutions outside of the same tired political paradigm. Not a single one. And as I have stated, we will never remove ourselves from our situation as long as we remain on this free-range tax slave reservation. We cannot fix the system within the system. They have every angle covered, so we must build outside of that system. They control all 3 branches of the government via powerful and well-funded lobbies, so the checks and balances have been nullified. They control the media, and thus the beliefs of the majority of people in this world who have never developed the critical thinking skills to see beyond the false rhetoric, perverted grammar, and logical fallacies being spewed as truth. They hijacked the education system beginning in the mid-19th century, took over the economic system in 1913, and within 1 decade of that, had control of the medical system as well. They have us surrounded, but again, we outnumber them by a factor of hundreds of thousands to 1. All we need to do is unite behind a single plan, just as they have, also known as Agenda 21 and SDG 2030, and we can finally emancipate ourselves from their velvet-gloved iron fist once and for all. So, instead of focusing on the problems and creating more fear, like everyone else out there in alternative media does to sell their survival products, I decided to create an actual solution to our problems, which, if and when fully implemented, would give humanity a level of freedom they have never once experienced in their lives. And I can say that with such conviction because all of my proposals and solutions are 100% fully based in natural law. See, I went back into history and really looked at what was being said and written during the forming of the American Republic. Virtually every great orator and writer spoke of natural law as the basis for founding our nation and form of government. But clearly we've lost our way because our world is operating so far outside the confines and constraints of natural law that billions suffer the misery and consequences of these violations every single day of their lives. But it doesn't have to be this way. All it takes is an understanding of the basic fundamentals of this ideology for everyone to identify the problems and unite behind this omnipotent force as the true path to human emancipation from the legacy systems which all violate natural law in every way possible. In my work, I explain that all we really need to learn are 1 definition, 4 moral maxims, and 3 language arts, and the world would begin to heal. Most of the populations have never been exposed to this information, however, unless they have sought it out on their own. And so we remain stuck in this false reality. Natural law is the Creator's law. It is the only true authority that defines the consequences of action. So, if there is a negative consequence to an action, that action violated one aspect of natural law or another. If actions result in positive outcomes or benefits, then it was done in alignment with natural law. It's really as simple as that. And if we build a society and social order on that framework, everything would eventually come back into balance naturally and without force. Also in my work, I have shown that nothing in life worth having comes without a goal and the personal effort to ensure it comes to fruition. What we need that no one else has offered is a plan of action which includes a goal or destination, a roadmap to get there, and a structure of what things would look like and how they would operate once we arrived. Because of this understanding, I created the Freedom Project 2020 as the vehicle to show everyone the plan, roadmap, and structure. The ultimate destination of this project is what I have named a Natural Law Republic. In this system, once we are able to cooperatively create it, all power and sovereignty would be fully restored back to the individual, where it inherently belongs. This is also a system which guarantees that no one would ever again be able to oppress or coerce others against their will without paying severe consequences for their actions. It is essentially a system in which everyone just agrees to be a decent human being and go about their lives as they see fit, and which allows them to achieve their full potential in life. Also, in this system, as all power has been restored to the individual, government would be replaced with public service administrations, which would maintain certain necessary services for the population, but it would be based on responsibility and not power, as it should be. It's a system based fully in common sense and the natural order, as things should be in our world. Nothing like this has ever been tried before in the history of large civilizations, other than perhaps many indigenous populations who respected nature above all. And it's time we try something new, because clearly things are not working out in our favor. We are currently on a path to complete financial ruin, societal collapse, and enslavement. But we can avoid it all because we do have the option to forge our own path and create our own future. We must stop following and obeying known liars and criminals. And our greatest asset, and thus power, is in our numbers once united behind an idea which would give everyone what they say they want. And that is to be free and to be left alone to live their lives. The only way this will happen, given the state of our world today, is to unite and create a new system which enables and guarantees that outcome.